My name is Megan Boynton, and welcome to Demon Life. Today we're here with Mrs. Lori LeBlanc. Hey, Miss Lori.
Hi.
Can you tell me what exactly your title is here at Northwestern State?
At Northwestern, I am the Deputy Title IX Coordinator and Director of Special Projects for Student Affairs.
Oh, wow. So can you tell me exactly what, as Title IX Deputy Coordinator, that you do? How is Title IX relevant to Northwestern State?
Okay, well, the two questions. Title IX is relevant to all education in America, K through 12 and higher education. It has to do with equal access to all services and education for all people, regardless of gender. So it's really based on gender. Title IX originated in 1972, and it had to do with female athletes having access to equal opportunity in sports and services in sports. So
Right.
It had to do with money and being supported in their efforts to be athletes. But in the past few years, it's expanded to include sexual assault and harassment. And then recently, even more recently, has expanded to include issues related to gender nonconformity, etc. I work with Dean Frances Conine. She is the Dean of Students, but she's also the Title IX Coordinator. So under her, I help apply and look at the law that comes down from our Board of Regents, from our state. We have state laws related to Title IX and also federal laws related to Title IX. So we look at those laws and we then make sure our policies and procedures are in line with those, and then also our application to how we help students related to Title IX.
Wow, that's a lot, and that's very important too. So how do you and Dean Conine integrate that into Northwestern State? How do you spread awareness about Title IX to students who may not know?
That's a very key part of it, is awareness. Per the Board of Regents' recent policy on sexual harassment and assault, NSU as a university as a whole is charged with prevention and awareness. So we have various awareness and educational campaigns that we do, starting with, we do presentations for every University 1000 class related to Title IX, and those are based on several things. They're based on defining Title IX, what exactly harassment and assault is, consent, bystander intervention, inter-partner violence, and then also reporting. Reporting is a big part of it too, because students need to know that they can get help, where in the past Title IX was something that was still there but not necessarily used on campuses that much. Reporting is important because students need to know that they can come forward, they can report confidentially, they can get help, and they can learn all their options if they are happen to be in an incident related to harassment or assault.
Oh, wow. So what is the process of reporting then if a student decides to?
That's a very good question. First of all, students need to know that reporting is very confidential. That's really one of the foundations of it. It's confidential because a lot of students have questions about whether they've been assaulted.
Right.
They also have a lot of issues related to whether their family should know about the assault. A lot of students are very embarrassed about it. So they need to know that once you've come forward, whether it's with the university police, through Dean Conine, or what we call confidential advisors, which are really what I want to highlight. We have a list of confidential advisors on our NSU Not Alone webpage, and that is a resource that you could go to. And what they do is they will tell you your options. First of all, sometimes in cases of rape, students may want to go see a SANE nurse at a hospital for a rape collection kit. The other options, if they don't want to do that, and that's what I need to emphasize too, these processes are all victim driven, okay? So the victim decides how far they want to go. They don't have to go to the hospital and see a SANE nurse if they don't want to. They don't have to report further than the confidential advisor if they don't want to. They don't have to file criminal charges. But we do want them to come forward for two reasons. Number one, so that their equal rights to education is protected, so that we could get them in counseling if they want to, and also so that we could watch trends. So even though confidential advisors don't report necessarily the name of the student or even the perpetrator, if the student who has been victimized doesn't want to go that far. They don't have to, but we still get information about the incident. Enough to where we don't have personally identifying information, but we do have enough information to watch trends.
Oh, right.
Because they found in the past that on college campuses there may have been perpetrators who've committed a crime up to 6 times.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and that's usually that's what the findings are from the recent studies. So that's the thing, is in the past students didn't come forward because they were embarrassed, they were scared, they didn't know how to get help. Now they can go forward confidentially and figure out what their options are.
That's an amazing outlet.
Yeah, healthcare wise, mental health wise, academically, we can help them with issues related to academics, because we've also found that a lot of students, it's hard to continue classes for a while. So we can write confidential letters if we have to, or we can figure out plans related to semester appeals or things like that if there has to be a resignation. There is a host of ways that we can help students.
Right.
And with the goal, based on Title IX, which is equal access to education, is to keeping them in school and keeping them moving toward that goal of graduating.
Wow, that's a great initiative. That sounds amazing. What exactly, is there a difference between, would you say that Title IX works a little differently on a smaller campus like Northwestern's as compared to maybe like a larger state university like LSU?
Absolutely. The laws are still the same. We have an advantage, I think. I've presented at SAC-COC in Houston last year about Title IX, and I had discussions with universities from all over the United States. And we found through those discussions that smaller universities like Northwestern have an easier time applying Title IX because we have such a tight community. Students tend to know Dean Conine or trust other professors to help them through processes, other staff as well. The other thing that's great is Natchitoches itself is part of a memorandum of understanding with the university that we all communicate about the victims and care for the victims so that we can participate in helping them stay in school. Because sometimes the reports don't all come to us, they will go to City of Natchitoches per se. So we have a memorandum of understanding with the city police and the sheriff's office and also the local hospital and with Project Celebration, which is our local victims advocacy group. So we all communicate in very confidential ways, following the guidelines that oversee all of our positions, with the goal of helping any student who would come forward with such a tragedy.
So going back to what you were talking about with the programs that you do for the freshmen, do you find that freshmen coming in, do they have any idea about Title IX, or is this kind of like opening them up to a whole new world?
It's actually very, very new to them.
Wow.
I usually do informal surveys in every presentation that I did. This semester I presented to over 1,000 students on all of our campuses, except for I didn't go to Alexandria this year, but I went to Leesville and Shreveport. And in those informal surveys, I asked them to raise their hand if they've heard about Title IX or heard about consent. And they say no.
Really?
I would say less than 5% actually no. So students are coming to us as freshmen freshmen are the most vulnerable population of students related to harassment and assault, and they have no idea about consent or even bystander intervention. They have had some bystander intervention with bullying and things like that, but Title IX in the K through 12 schools is really hard to talk about because it's talking about sex.
Right.
So I understand the blocks there, but at the same time, that's a problem that needs to be solved. And there are conversations already starting about how to get this Title IX information started in the high schools and the middle schools especially.
So why do you think that freshmen are the group that's targeted most, I guess, or who would suffer most as far as this issue goes?
Well, studies show that freshman women within the first 2 months of school are the most vulnerable. And if you think about it, it makes sense because they're the ones that are new to campus. They don't know a lot of people. They may not have been away from home very much. A lot of times they're experimenting with alcohol. They want to belong. So if there are perpetrators or people on campus who would take advantage of them, those perpetrators know to look for freshmen as well, unfortunately. But that's what the studies do show, is it's usually freshmen, and it's usually freshman women. Not to say that it's not men as well, because men are assaulted as well. All genders are assaulted.
Oh, absolutely.
And actually the numbers go up when you look at bisexual students, their numbers are higher. Transgender students, a lot of times their numbers are higher. A lot of times, which is something that I've been trying to help ameliorate here, is gay men sometimes, they do not report because a lot of times they're not out as well. So there's all these issues related to gender and sexuality too that play into the aspects of vulnerability related to assault and harassment.
It's a really intricate issue to try and confront, especially with a huge group of diverse people at such a, it's a small university, but it has its own kind of culture about it.
Absolutely, and that's one reason why we also have a student group called Demons Support Demons that we invite all students to join, and we have students of every walk of life, of every gender, every race, from multiple backgrounds. It's a very diverse group, and they are committed to ending sexual violence on this campus, which is also part of, interestingly enough, the Board of Regents policy is that we have to look at the diversity on our campus, and we have to serve that diversity and not just focus on freshmen. We focus on all freshmen, sophomore, junior, senior. We focus on races, we focus on sexuality, genders, everything. So we try to hit all the students and protect everyone on campus.
Oh, definitely. So now tell me, if you could go into more detail about Demons Support Demons, how did that start, and what exactly do they focus on?
Demons Support Demons is actually a really cool group that started from Dr. Foster's one of his communication classes. I think it's group dynamics. And what he does in that class, which is really great, is some service learning projects. So we got a group of students assigned to us about 2 years ago, I think, and they helped us with our first memorandum of understanding. And they helped us put on a banquet. We created the memorandum. We invited community members, and it was a really incredibly exciting thing. Then we got our second group of students from Dr. Foster's class, and they said they wanted to start a student RSO. So they got together and developed the things that you need to start an RSO with a focus on ending sexual assault. And that's why we have, every semester, we have what's called a Week of Action, and it's related to a national It's On Us program.
Right, through the White House, right?
Exactly, and through the White House Task Force. And so that group now takes on that responsibility every year to have a Week of Action to raise awareness and hopefully prevent all sexual assaults on our campus.
Oh my God, what a great goal. Now, I know that you in particular are involved with the recently established Center of Inclusion and Diversity on campus. Could you tell me about that?
I have a little bit to do with it. Brittany Blackwell is the current director of that, and Dean Conine is also over that. But because of my position as a student advocate, and I do help students who are generally marginalized on campus, I help students who may not have the social capital that they need to understand financial aid or academics or a whole bunch of different issues. So through that office, that's how I assist. We've developed some really fun things through that. There's the chalkboard that's called Chalk Talk, which I think students should visit every once in a while to see what the conversation is. They will post a topic every week or so, and then students can discuss, which is exciting. I went in there yesterday and read a bunch of great things. They also have a student group from Dr. Foster's class this semester that's holding a series of seminars on different topics, race, and they've done a topic on the LGBT community, and they're also going to do diversity and religion. So I think that the Center for Inclusion and Diversity is just a little seed pod right now that I think is going to really grow and help our campus for all of us to understand inclusion, understand diversity, and really work together toward the goal of graduation, toward also informing ourselves about the world so that we could become better citizens and more employable. I had a student recently that worked with Demons Support Demons who got a job just because of all of the events that she had on her resume. She went in to apply as a volunteer, and they said, "You've done all this great work, we want to hire you." So I encourage all students to really join student groups who are doing things that are related to social justice, and employees will see that you have an open mind and an open heart, and that you're willing to make the world a better place.
Wow. Well, Ms. Lori, it seems like you have your hands full. So I just wanted to thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and I'm Megan Boynton, and that's it for today's episode of Demon Life. Thank you.